everybody, I'm Thomas Jane, and I played the Punisher.
And I'm Batman, and it's time for the Almost Friday show for October 27th, 2011.
In Off the Press, we're looking at Blizzard news, because it's cold. Ooh.
But not so cold, because it's also hot.
Hot Blizzard news.
That's right.
I'm confused.
You should be.
Oh.
Because I'm Batman.
That's true.
Then we're going to Tech Insight, and we're talking about Nokia is finally making a phone that people might buy.
That's pretty interesting. Because
not
it's...
really.
I guess. I'm not, I don't follow these tech things.
Who does?
I just fight crime.
Me too.
With this shirt. You know what? Sometimes I fight crime in the ocean. Specifically in the Mariana Trench. Which I believe this man by the name of Sean is going to be telling us about something scientific that happens in there.
I hear there's good food.
Crabs. Good. Really good crabs.
Then we're talking about something that was right up our alley. It's a camera for heroes, the Hero Cam.
I can strap it to my shirt
I
when
can
I'm
dig
killing
it.
people.
Strapped to my motorcycle or my car or Robin.
It's pretty good when it's strapped to Robin. Anyway, it's time to go fight crime, and you can listen to some other guys tell you about interesting things about tech. In Off the Press. Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Press. I have no idea who that guy was, but he totally had the same t-shirt as me.
That was...
You can tell I'm a different
interesting.
person, though, because I'm wearing glasses, and he wasn't.
Yeah, I think I've seen that guy somewhere before.
Yeah.
Can't quite place it.
I think he said his name was Thomas Jane.
Something like that.
Played some sort of superhero. I don't know.
Anyway, so Blizzard had this small get-together this past weekend.
There's a couple of guys around a campfire.
A couple of guys in Anaheim, got together at a coffee shop or something. So they announced... Okay, actually, it was BlizzCon, and they announced a bunch of really exciting stuff.
I thought it was actually a couple of guys at a coffee shop that announced some stuff. I'm more
They
disappointed.
could have been just logged on to the Starbucks Wi-Fi and just, twittering it out.
Check out these new games.
Oh my god! So the first thing that had me really excited is the next WoW expansion, number 4, I guess. Mists of Pandaria. You're basically playing as
I
pandas.
feel like that's something that you get as a disease when you travel to
Pandaria?
India.
Yeah.
I went through the mist of Pandaria, and now I've got a rabid case of Pandarian flu.
That should totally be a thing. Make that a thing, guys. So basically, what this expansion is a whole new continent. It's got kind of an Asian theme to it. You play pandas.
You actually play as a panda?
You play as a panda.
I feel like this is...
No.
Blizzard's going,
Wait.
guys, we're running out of ideas.
No, actually,
Let's turn into animals.
The Pandarians have been around since, the first Warcraft game, so shut the fuck up. Or the
All
third
right,
Warcraft.
I'd be told
Since one of the
apparently.
Warcraft games that I haven't played.
I'll stop talking about Warcraft.
Okay, so moving on to Diablo 3 then, since we won't talk about Warcraft.
Can I talk about this now?
Yes, Blizzard announced, well, they didn't announce, but they showed a cinematic.
Because that's what Blizzard's been doing. They've
They've
been
been-
feeding everybody little tiny bits of Diablo 3 for the past decade.
And they still haven't announced a date for it yet. Going on to little things they haven't announced a date for is StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm. That's the first expansion / part 2 of StarCraft.
Ah,
They showed a trailer for that. It looks pretty sweet. No release date.
we don't know what they're adding. Do we know what they're adding? Something? Stuff?
Something. Another race.
More characters.
Another race, because you couldn't play as all the races in the first one or something. It's really exciting. The trailer looks pretty.
Apparently Scott's telling us that Sam has no idea what she's talking about.
I don't play StarCraft.
It's more single player.
Oh,
More
yeah,
single
more
player.
single
Yeah,
player.
see, another
Alright.
race for a single player campaign.
Yes.
I know what I'm talking about. It's cool.
And advances to multiplayer. But that's
Yes.
nothing to do with race.
Anyway, moving on. Blizzard Dota. So as I learned today, what exactly Dota was, it's actually a fan-made thingy for StarCraft 3. Or not StarCraft 3, wow, Warcraft 3.
Yes.
And Blizzard is doing an official
Oh, wow,
Dota
we have
now.
StarCraft 3 already?
Yes.
Nice.
20 years in the future. So Blizzard is doing an official Dota thing. There really wasn't much news about it. It was basically just a trailer again. No word on release date.
So Blizzard's basically playing the giant card of here's a bunch of things we're going to tell you about,
Yeah.
but not let you know when you're going to have it, and sometime in the next decade
Also,
you might
no
get
release
it.
date for Pandaria. Just saying. So I'm just moving through these pretty quickly because we do have a game review coming up. Finally, in Blizzard news, they announced an annual subscription for World of Warcraft, which is cool. But what makes this even cooler is that they're giving you a whole bunch of perks, starting with a free version of Diablo 3,
Well, that's pretty cool.
which is just the regular version. But I think I read somewhere that if you were to go to the store and buy a retail version, they will add a couple months to your subscription, or to buy buy the collector's edition, they'll add a couple of months to your annual subscription just to make up for the cost of the cool retail or the cool collector's edition stuff.
Ah.
So if you like collector's edition stuff, you can still buy it and still have a subscription, which I guess is kind of cool. You also get a mount in WoW and access to the Pandaria beta. It's pretty sweet.
So if
for
you
an
want to be a
annual
panda
subscription.
early, you should get this this pass.
Agreed. I might get it just for the mount. Just saying. Moving right along, finishing up this Blizzard news. Okay, we're done. Sorry. I'm going through these too quick. Moving right along, so Joss Whedon took a break from shooting Avengers that nobody knew about, apparently.
That's what he does. He's all like,
does.
hey, I'm doing something really super special. I'm going to go do something super special over here that's different.
Yep. So it was announced this week via Twitter that he just finished wrapping shooting for Much Ado About Nothing, which is a Shakespeare play. So he's doing an
Which I
adaptation of
believe
that,
stars Nathan Fillion.
and a bunch of other really big names.
Yes.
Yes.
Sean Mayer, who plays, I believe, Simon in
Yep.
Firefly. And, a bunch of other people.
Yep.
So, and Amy Acker from the Buffy and, or not Buffy, but Angel and Dollhouse universe as well.
So it's a lot of people.
Oh, and Alexis Desanoff, who's also from Buffy. And
A lot of people that
Josh
keep-
Whedon's just like, I got a bunch of
Joss.
friends that whatever,
Joss.
same difference. I can't say it. I
Joss?
pronounce it wrong all the time. Anyway, Whedon likes to
Which
basically only work. You know what? Stop that. Only likes to work with the same people all the time,
It's true.
and they all just cross paths. So.
Also, no release date. Moving on to one final thing that does have a release date. As we talked about a while ago, the Star Wars movies are being released in theaters in 3D. So the first trailer has just dropped for The Phantom Menace. Although we can't see it in 3D, the trailer does look kind of neat. And also, it's kind of... Scott and I have agreed that Phantom Menace is probably the only one worth watching in 3D.
Because of the podcast racing. I mean, whatever the hell they're called.
Podcast racing? That
What's
sounds awesome.
Yeah. What's its
pod racing.
Pod racing.
And there's a lot of space battles and cool...
Clearly, I'm completely in it
scenes.
tonight.
Obviously.
Aren't you glad you pay for the pay for this content?
So that's coming out February, I believe, 10th. February 10th, 2012. I will go see that opening night with all the other nerds. And speaking of things on opening night with all the other nerds,
Well, I didn't line up on opening night, but I'm here to review Battlefield 3, which I rented, because I didn't line up on opening night. So Battlefield 3 is a pretty interesting game. I'm gonna start with the good stuff first, of which it's incredibly pretty.
it is.
It's a very, very pretty game. It required, my reviews being done on an Xbox 360. It required that I download install 1.5 gigabytes of additional HD content to make my stuff look nicer, which in these kind of games I was totally for doing because it does look very pretty.
I actually saw a thing, I think on Kotaku or something, that had comparison shots of people who installed them and people who didn't.
Okay.
And holy crap, it's like blurry cam all over the place. People who didn't.
Yeah, there's a
install
lot
them.
more draw distance with the installed content, which really gives a bigger sense of scale to things. Battlefield 3 is a game, though. The single player, people are really comparing Battlefield to Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Which is
because
its main competitor.
Yeah,
really.
which is this main competitor. And on two levels it's competing. It's competing from a campaign single player, and it's competing from multiplayer. And when it comes to the campaign single player, it doesn't hold a candle to Call of Duty. It's a really great game to play, but the story just isn't compelling. It kind of jumps all over the place, doesn't get you nearly as involved as the Call of Duty games do, and I found it was rather short as well. As far as single player was concerned, I found a lot of the zones to be very tedious. You'd get stuck in sort of alleyways with bad guys, and you'd have to make sure that you killed them all in the right order, because if you didn't, you died. And I found myself redoing sections 10, 15 times because I would miss one guy somewhere who would then headshot me out of nowhere, or decide that now it was going to use a rocket launcher. So there'd be times where you could go for like 10 or 15 minutes and just be blasting through guys in nice open areas, and as soon as you get into a confined space, you have to be the best aim in the world, because if you don't clear everyone out right away, they're going to kill you. And I wasn't playing on easy, I was playing on normal, which is designed for the average experience, and I found it to be quite tedious at times.
So, the single-player campaign is kind of so-so. Visually looks really great. Multiplayer is really where a lot of people are interested.
Yeah.
And this is where it's similar but also different from Call of Duty. And the big thing about Battlefield, and if you've played any other Battlefield games before, you know that it's the large scale of everything in Battlefield. Much bigger maps. You've got vehicles, you've got Humvees, tanks, helicopters, planes that you can fly. And so it's more of a sense of a larger, actual battle as opposed to, 12 to 16 guys running around on a map shooting each other like Call of Duty. There's pros and cons to that. I found that the action is a little bit more spaced out with multiplayer because the maps are so big. Now, the other thing, too, is that when you are playing on the console, you're limited to 24 people in a map, which is a pretty high number for these kind of games. But in comparison, the PC version can do 64 players, which I think on some of the bigger maps would make it seem a lot more...
A lot faster.
A lot faster paced, a lot more action going on, because I did find there was times, even with a full server of 24 people, where some of the maps were just really big. They're designed for 64 people, and you'd be kind of running for, 2 or 3 minutes before you'd make it into some action and stuff like that. But then there's other maps that are smaller that are a lot more of a firefight. So the thing is that it incorporates a lot of the leveling system that Call of Duty uses, where as you play, you level up your character. But they do it in a bit of a different way, because Call of Duty, you just kind of choose a character and you choose the guns you want and you play that character. But in Battlefield, you have different classes. So you have an assault class, a medic class, you've got a heavy and sort of scout class. And so with those different classes, you have different weapons that you can use. But what's interesting is that you level up the classes themselves as opposed to your character. Your character levels up himself, but then you get additional credits towards the classes as you play them. And the same goes for the vehicles. As you spend time in the Hummer or in the jet or in the helicopter, you get points for doing that, and what that allows you to do is unlock upgrades to those vehicles. So it means that when you go in, it's not just about using the tank really well, but spending time in the tank and stuff like that, that's going to get you additional upgrades for it. So there's a lot of paths to be able to upgrade, which I thought was pretty cool. But if you weren't a big fan of Call of Duty's sort of large-scale mass maps, you're probably not going to think there's too much different about Battlefield 3. I mean, it's a much prettier game, and the leveling dynamics are really cool, but if you're not big on that large-scale map, it's a lot of what Battlefield is. So if you are thinking of checking it out, I'd recommend renting it, but the catch there is that EA is kind of being a douchebag. And
like they've been for the last couple of years.
Yeah, so if you buy the game, you get this nice piece of paper inside that has an online pass key that you need to type into your Xbox or PlayStation to let you play online. And if this has already been redeemed because you're renting a copy, you're then going to have to, in the case of Xbox, spend 800 Microsoft points to play online, which is bullshit.
Because you're already paying to play online.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Microsoft, you're paying your Xbox Live fee to play online, and EA's decided, no, we want to use our servers, so we're going to charge you a fee to use our servers. And then on top of that, we went to go and film some multiplayer footage tonight. We wanted to run it through our system and capture it, and hey, EA servers were down.
Oh no!
So it's day 3 of Battlefield being out, and already the Xbox 360 servers were down.
And it's not even the weekend yet. So.
Yeah, so I have a big problem with EA basically saying, oh, well, if you've bought this game, then great, you can play online.
Only play it once,
but
basically.
if you rent this game, then you're going to have to pay us extra money to play online. And let's be honest, no one rents this game to play the campaign. I mean, they'll do it, but it'll be done in like 5 hours.
Yeah.
Because none of these campaigns are ever long. So it's a short campaign, and then you want to spend the rest of the time in multiplayer. And now if you've rented it, you got to spend money, again, to play multiplayer, which is stupid. And it also greatly cripples the resale value, because it means you can't go and trade it in somewhere, because the next person's going to have to pay money to play online. And it's really stupid, and it really makes me mad at EA. So it's kind of a mixed bag. It's a very pretty game. It's fun to play, but it's tedious. The campaign's sort of all over the place, and the multiplayer is really good. But if you've rented the copy or bought it secondhand, you're gonna have to spend extra money over the money you've spent to play it. So I really don't know where to come down on this game. I guess hope that you rent it and that person hasn't used it.
When you're not playing on Xbox though, if you're playing on PlayStation, how much is it on PlayStation? It's like $5 or something, right?
I don't know. I don't know what 800 points works out to. I think 800 points is.
Curse you, Microsoft.
I want to say 800 points is like $15.
15?
Yeah,
Good lord.
might be somewhere between 10 or 15.
So when you're buying a used copy of the game, you're actually not saving yourself any money. In fact, you're probably going to be paying $5 more.
Yeah, potentially.
Fun fact.
So moving on to the last bit this week is the new releases. Coming out in theaters this weekend is In Time with Justin Timberlake. It looks like a really awesome movie. It's about a world where everyone has clocks on their arms and they have to work for their time to live, which is pretty cool. And one person gets a whole bunch of time and decides to go on a
rich
rebellion.
People get a whole bunch of time.
Well, yes.
And then
So that looks pretty cool. We've also got Anonymous, which
that
is
crazy
the Shakespeare movie.
that I'm super stoked about.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And we got The Rum Diary, which is sort of Johnny Depp's return to the Hunter S. Thompson-esque character as he goes down to, I believe, Havana to do some journalistic reporting. And there's a lot of alcohol consumed and, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm a big fan of the Hunter S. Thompson character, so this movie looks pretty exciting for me.
On DVD and Blu-ray this week, we have Captain America on... I think there's a 3D version out as well. So Not to Killing montage. Sweet.
Yes.
We have Attack the Block.
Which is a pretty cool indie sort of alien movie. If you like British films and you like alien movies, check it out. It's a lot of fun.
And we also have the Jurassic Park trilogy on Blu-ray.
Which is just awesome because Jurassic Park is one of the best trilogies of all time.
And still holds up very well.
Absolutely. And in games, obviously, we have Battlefield 3 on PlayStation, Xbox, and the PC.
Yep. We have 2 Kinect titles. We have Dance Central 2 and Kinect Sports Season 2.
And finally, we have Disney Universe on pretty much all the platforms.
Which is, judging by the box art and what I've read on the back of the box, it's like Little Big Planet, but Disney.
All right, and that brings us to the end of Off the Press this week. Hey, Batman. Welcome to Tech Insight.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So we're starting with some Nokia news.
Yeah, actually exciting Nokia news. So we've been waiting for Nokia to announce some Windows phones since Microsoft and Nokia made that partnership announcement like 8 months ago?
Something like that.
So they finally announced them. Now don't hold your breath. They're not coming out till 2012.
Which is what they said in the beginning, and we all said it was a bad idea.
It still is, really.
Yeah.
But the phones look all right. So you have the Lumina 800, which is the Mac Daddy version. It's basically very similar to the N900.
Yes, but running Windows.
But running Windows. Now it's going to ship
Which instantly makes it a better option.
Really, it does, because
Yes.
MeeGo's
Dead.
Who even knows about that? So
Nokia says it's not, but everyone else.
and then they go sign the thing with Microsoft, right? So what does that say? So shipping with Mango. Now it's got a 1.4 gig single core processor, but there's also hardware graphic acceleration. So a lot of people are going, "Oh, that's underpowered. Why didn't they ship a dual core phone?" What a lot of people don't understand is Microsoft says what you can put in a Windows phone.
Yes.
If you go above and beyond or below, you don't get Windows on your phones. They're doing this specifically to avoid what happened with Google and to get as close to the Apple model as you can without making the hardware.
Yes. So the problem with Android, as we talked about before, is fragmentation. That's because you have all these different devices with different power specs, different screens, all this kind of stuff. And so you don't really have consistent user experiences with each one, which is the polar opposite to iPhone, where everything is identical. And so outside of your phone maybe being slower because it's older, you're always going to get the same, more or less, functionality.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what Windows is going for, but with third-party manufacturers. So, they're not limiting the speed of your processor. There's a minimum.
Yes.
But dual core isn't incorporated into Windows Phone at the core yet. So there's no point in making a dual core phone because you can't get that functionality. There's a good article on Gizmodo about how there was a lot of people complaining about the announcement. They're underpowered. He wrote a really good editorial about how these people obviously know nothing about Windows Phone and that you really don't need that to have a good Windows Phone experience.
Absolutely.
So the reports from hands-on are pretty snappy. I think where you're going to lose performance is browser, but I don't think it's going to be a slow phone.
No, I mean, the browser tests thus far have been that it's slower, but, a second or two, which really, on a mobile phone, you're just going to attribute it to having bad cell signal or something like that.
That's the thing, right? I mean, your bandwidth is going to be probably a larger issue than the fact that your browser is not super, super speedy.
Absolutely.
This is significantly more powerful than the iPhone 4, which I find has very good browser performance.
Yeah.
So it's got that, it's got a 3.7-inch screen. Now, the screen resolution is also set by Microsoft, so you can't go put a 720p screen on.
Yeah.
Because it won't work with Windows Phone. So good and bad things. So it's 800 by 480 AMOLED. Nothing crazy, but apparently it's better than what's available from Windows Phone right now. Comes in cyan, magenta, and black.
Yes.
There was a white phone at the announcement, but there's no white phone.
Yet.
So, yeah. So, but the cyan and magenta are actually nice colors.
It's a really sharp-looking phone.
It's a good-looking phone. It is.
It's one of the first phones that actually sort of gets up there in iPhone build quality.
It looks really good. Apparently, it feels nice in the hand, feels nice in the pocket, which is something because the iPhone 4 is not my favorite in the pocket. Decent camera, 8 megapixels, Zeiss optics.
Yeah, f2.2 lens, which is nice and bright.
Yeah.
Shooting 720 at 30 frames per second. Not 1080, which I think people will probably wanted, but I still don't believe 1080 has any purpose on a cell phone.
No, I mean 720 video is going to look good.
Yeah.
If you're going to put it on the web,
you're not going to upload 1080.
no, it doesn't. Especially mobile,
It'll eat all your memory as well.
which is a problem on this phone. 16 gigs, no SD card. That's a bit, and they didn't say anything as to upgrade options, which I think is a bit of kick in the junk.
Well, yeah, especially considering we're starting to see 16 as the entry now.
Yeah,
And
with the iPhone 4S.
32 being the popular option,
Yeah.
and 64 for the people with a bit more cash.
Now, personally, I would never want more than 16 gigs, but I was happy with 8 on my 3G. I really have a little bit of music that I swap out, and I don't do the video thing, and photos I store in the cloud.
Yeah. Whereas I feel that my use as a cell phone has changed over time, and
Yeah.
now when I used to be said, yeah, 8's fine, now I wish I had more space
Yeah.
because I tend to do more with my phone than I expected.
And I really think that's really unique to me not caring. I think a lot of people want more than 16, especially lots of music videos getting big on phones.
Lots of people take photos. It's,
Absolutely.
it's camera
and
phones
that
are
sounds
the
like a decent
thing.
camera.
Absolutely.
So, I think that was a bit of a mistake. Not a killer in terms of would I or would I not buy the phone. It looks gorgeous, which is a big thing because a lot of the other phones don't.
Yeah.
Especially the Windows Phone. I think the HTC HD7 is one of the best ones now. This, I think, is a much nicer phone.
Much prettier looking phone.
Other than that, early 2012 for the US, which I'm assuming Canada will be close to, they're saying competitive pricing. Now, unlocked in Europe, 420 euros.
Pricey.
Yeah, depending on how, because it completely depends on how it converts over.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be a direct conversion, it never is.
No.
If that comes out at $500, $550, unlocked,
It's not bad.
not bad. It undercuts the iPhone. I think that's similar to what an iPhone 4 unlocked now. I don't know what they are unlocked now. I have no idea.
I don't
Might be
remember.
less. But that's a decent price for an unlocked phone, especially when you're, it's not the top of the line, but it's very close in terms of specs, and it is top of the line for Windows Phone. So I think that's going to be a killer Windows Phone if we ever get it. So who knows what happens. The other cool thing is Nokia's launching a turn-by-turn direction app for their phones on Windows Phone 7, which apparently demoed really good.
Cool.
So that's cool because Windows Phone 7 does not have that built in like Android does. And it gives it an edge over the iPhone, which you have to go buy an app.
Yes.
So that's cool. Now, if you're not into the top-of-the-line phone, there is the Lumia 710, which is their kind of entry model. Not as exciting, still running Mango, which is good. You get all the features. 8 gigs of storage with no SD slot. Come on, guys. No SD slot? And 8 gigs is not enough.
Not high resolution screen either.
Yeah, less high resolution screen. The camera's only 5 megapixels, and it doesn't have the nice optics.
Yeah.
So that's really your entrance phone. You're going to see that for like, $99 on, probably less than that.
Probably $50.
Probably $50 on contract.
Maybe even free.
But that's a good phone to have around to compete with the cheap Android phones.
For sure. Or the free iPhones.
Yeah, so I think it makes sense to have it, although we as tech guys are always going to want the best.
Yes.
So I don't think it'd be a bad phone. I mean, it's still running Mango, and Windows phones optimize really well, so it's not super resource heavy, which is good. So if you're not looking for top of line, you just want an everyday kind of phone, that'd be a good phone to point your, I want a smartphone, but I don't really need a smartphone phone.
Yeah.
It's not expensive. It's not as confusing as Android. Windows phone's very easy to use, and I've had a lot of people go, I want a smartphone, I don't want an iPhone. And I don't want to recommend Android because it's too much for some people. So I think that could be a good phone. I'm pretty happy with Nokia's announcements, other than the fact that they're not here yet.
Yes, that is the big problem.
Also, the 710 comes in a pile of colors, like orange and purple, whatever. Those cheap phones.
And rainbow.
Lots of colors. So that's cool.
No rainbow.
No, not really. But finally they announced it. I think they look good. I might consider getting a Lumia 800 next year, depending on pricing and what Apple releases. But it looks good. So if you're looking for a Windows Phone, I would beg you to wait and see if anything better comes up, because right now those look about the cream of the crop for Windows Phone. Moving on, we got a bunch of just little things for the rest of the segment. HP's decided that they are not going to sell their PC division.
Which, is probably a smart idea because that's what their company was.
Yeah, the old CEO had an IBM background and wanted to IBM HP, move to business solutions as opposed to providing hardware. HP's not a business solutions company. IBM did that really well. Everyone goes to IBM.
Yes.
HP makes lots of... The thing about HP, they got tons of contracts. They make so much money. Their PC division is profitable. They're starting to make nice laptops that even I would recommend to people. Why sell that?
For sure.
They don't put any effort into it. You can tell.
We've seen a lot of this in the tech industry this past year, is decisions that were made, and then people realized it was stupid.
Yeah.
And then they changed their mind. There's been a lot of that going on.
They should change their mind about WebOS. Just saying.
Yeah.
But HP PCs are here. They're not going anywhere. So if you have one, don't fret. And if you were holding off buying one, go ahead. They're not going to go away. The warranties are staying forever and things like that.
At least for this month.
Yeah, well, who knows if the CEO gets canned, and then who knows what's going on. Next up, we're talking about a crazy cool BlackBerry.
It's the nicest designed BlackBerry from 2005.
And oddly enough, still the nicest looking BlackBerry, even today.
Even though it's not actually from 2005.
No, it's the current model BlackBerry. I think it's basically the Bold Touch.
Yes.
The 9900 or whatever that is. Except what's happened is BlackBerry has said, hey, Porsche, design us a BlackBerry. And they made the BlackBerry. And if you like Porsches...
I really don't feel Porsche's styling through this, to be honest.
Really?
Like,
it doesn't look enough like a Beetle to you.
No, it's just, it's just kind of it's very angular, which is not Porsche.
No, true. Yeah.
Porsche is bubble cars. And they're not bad bubble cars, but they're very curvy, and this phone is the exact opposite of that.
It is kind of similar to their concept stuff, though.
Yes.
Which is probably
those hard drives that the design for Lisa.
For no reason, yeah.
Yes.
So it is something out of that crazy Porsche design lab.
And because it's a crazy Porsche design, they've also decided to call it the P9981.
Yeah, as opposed to the 9981, which what a BlackBerry. It's a P in front of it. There's no S.
Yeah.
I can't get the P9981S turbo.
No. Yeah.
Cabriolet.
3 cores.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just nothing special about the BlackBerry. The guts are normal.
Well, although they did say that it has a special Porsche design UI.
Yeah, which has to be better than BlackBerry OS 7.
Hopefully.
Maybe not.
And it does have a hand wrap leather back.
Yeah, it does look nice. I think as a BlackBerry.
If you
like angular metallic style, it is metal on the front.
Yes,
like real metal, which is cool. I think it's kind of.
There's one other thing you're going to need in order to get this phone.
Yeah,
and that's $2,000.
Yeah, which is a lot.
It's especially because at the end of the day, you're still using a BlackBerry.
Yeah, you could buy like almost 3 BlackBerries straight out for that. Probably more than 3 actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 3 1/3.
Yeah.
Of the same thing, and then maybe just duct tape it and cut around the keys.
I really hate the keyboard on this. I don't like how
it doesn't
it
look comfortable.
No.
But if you want it, you got to go to a Porsche design store, which
Yes.
I've never heard of or seen before.
I'm sure they're in America somewhere.
I guarantee
and probably
it, yeah.
also Germany.
So really, if you're going in to buy, you just need a new Boxster S.
Oh, we forgot to mention the best part. You get a BBM Porsche specific pin.
That's right. You get
that helps you know other users with this Porsche.
It's a vanity
better.
pin,
Yes.
basically. So you guys
this
can...
phone just reeks of douchery.
Really, if you don't own a Porsche, don't even think about it. If you do,
you're already there anyways.
You might as well pick one up because you're already paying $60,000.
Just get them to throw it in when you buy your GT3 RS.
Yeah, I think that's a good deal. Buy a GT3 RS, get a free P9981S Cabriolet.
And your
Turbo.
version of it will still have scaffolding on it.
4S.
Yeah. Moving on.
Next up, we're talking Rogers is finally getting an LTE phone, which is really cool. It's the HTC Raider, they're calling it.
I just can't keep track of the damn names HTC comes up with.
Yeah, because they name them all.
Yeah.
They don't number it like other crazy people.
Which isn't really better though. Either.
Not necessarily, especially since the Raider is actually a different phone in Europe, which already exists.
Yeah,
we're calling it a Raider, which is nuts. But it's fully LTE capable, which is awesome. Running Android 3.
So what does that mean for speeds for us?
I don't know. Rogers isn't saying.
Okay.
150.
So it's
What
possible.
it should be. I don't know where they're at because they're going to ramp it up because they're still in beta or whatever. It'll be much faster than 3G to start, no matter what. So that's cool. It's running Android Gingerbread, basic Gingerbread phone, nothing special, but $150 on contract.
That's not bad.
Which is not bad if you want to jump on the 4G bandwagon.
Now, do you have to pay more for 4G, or do you just get that?
I imagine you do, yeah. Probably a lot since we're in Canada. Yeah. I don't know exactly. Last time I checked,
want to have guaranteed
when
numbers
I checked on the data sticks, very expensive. So I would imagine expensive. Yeah, that 6 gig data plan probably not going to transfer, but who knows? Maybe it does. I haven't looked into the plans, but the phone itself is a decent price.
Yeah.
For Canada.
If you feel like jumping on the LTE bandwagon,
you can do so.
The bigger part's going to be your phone bill.
Yeah. Also, Bell's getting it, but not yet. So Rogers is selling them now. You can actually order one from Rogers now. Bell is coming soon because they're the other ones with LTE. Talking about Rogers, we all know Rogers throttles.
Yes.
They've been known to throttle games. They've been known to throttle BitTorrent. They've been known to throttle anything that goes through their pipes. There's been a lot of talk lately about who throttles how much. Rogers throttles the most in the world.
Yes. At any given time, they're throttling 80% of their traffic.
Which is 60% higher than the second guy.
And they've been measuring this now for 2.5 years, and it's fluctuated by about 2%.
So you want to know the fun part? Number 2 on this list here, small list, but Cogeco, which is also cable in Canada.
Yes.
So not great. Actually, that's just a list of Canadian ones, but that's terrible. That's just, I'm on Rogers. I don't really have that many problems, but I could be in that 20%. Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe I just don't notice.
You're hidden from the radars.
Maybe it's just so fast that when they throttle it down, I don't notice. I don't know. But that's terrible.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that they get away with it, to be honest.
And there's been some things. The big study was done by an American company. Rogers has actually throttled more than twice as much as AT&T, which is AT&T's an awful company, so that's just scary.
Yeah.
Basically, they were saying Rogers might be actually breaking some laws by how much they throttle. So I'd like to see the CRTC look into this because it's kind of really awful. I don't notice, but maybe if I was on someone else, I'd be like, oh my god, Rogers is so slow.
Possibly.
But it is something to put in perspective. So don't be afraid. If you think you're being throttled, oh, I just got kicked out of the server or whatever, call them up. Complain. I mean, that's the only way we can get any movement on this because I don't think the CRTC is going to be proactive about it.
No.
They're not really proactive about much. No. So be aware and complain often. Last but not least, we're talking Sony Ericsson, which is no longer Sony Ericsson. As of today, I believe, or yesterday, Sony bought out Ericsson's 50% share in the joint venture for €1 billion.
It's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. But now it's just Sony. So your Sony Ericsson phones going forward, the Xperias and stuff will just be Sony phones. I don't know what they're going to do with the branding, but I imagine Ericsson doesn't want their name on it anymore if they're not making money off it.
I suppose.
Ericsson, if you don't know, makes a lot of cell phone tower-like equipment. So I'm not surprised they wanted out of that. I don't think it was very hard. Sony was like, here, have €1 billion. And they're like, all right. So I think Sony's been pushing a lot.
In fairness, though, Ericsson's been making great phones for a really long time.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I mean, they did work both sides of that ball, right? I mean, they were making phones because they did make phones before the joint venture and then kind of merged into the joint venture.
Yeah, I mean, if we talk about before the advent of smartphones, as far as dumb phones were concerned, feature phones,
yeah.
I would say that Sony Ericsson and Nokia were the two companies to have phones that would last forever.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I don't think you'll see a big change.
No,
I think
not.
especially lately, Sony's been pushing a lot of the design. With the Xperia and things like that, especially with the whole let's put PlayStation and everything charge. So going forward, it's just going to be Sony. Interesting tidbit at the press release about this. Someone asked the CEO of Sony, Sir Howard Stringer, if they were going to buy WebOS. And he said, never say never.
which really is just
Which
him
means
deflecting.
no, we're not buying WebOS. No one wants it, which is too bad because I love WebOS. But,
Yeah, there's rumors going around that Nikon was going to buy it, which I hope
Wow, I hope
never
they don't.
happens
Yeah.
because then that just means it is completely dead.
yeah. So on that note, it's the end of Tech Insight.
Thanks for all your insight, Batman.
Anytime.
It's kind of alive!
Nah, it's still dead.
Oh. Hi everyone and welcome to Mad Science. It's been a while.
It really has.
It's been so long my watch has stopped. Anyway, so let's get right to it. We got a few mentions because there's been,
Yes.
of course, crap going on. Just because I'm not here doesn't mean science stops. Or news about science. And I really wish it did. It would help me catch up. So we got some really interesting news. Just going to glance through a whole bunch of this stuff.
Starting off with something really cool. If you are a science buff or a history buff, this
Or a
story
science history buff.
will really appeal to you. So the Royal Society.
Yes, the Royal Society
it's
of
quiet.
England has finally decided that they would publish the... oh man, what was it called? Well, they're publishing basically everybody's papers.
Everything.
Anything, any scientist of history or anyone who came up with a notion, who published it and sent it to the Royal Society,
Yep.
it is going to be online now.
I believe the Royal Society started up in 1660.
1665, in fact.
Excellent.
Well, at least that's when they've been doing literature.
Yep.
So they've started up for, well, what is it, 350 years or something?
More or less, yep.
That they've been going on, and they decided that it would be a good idea to open up the historical archive, which I like science history.
For free.
Yeah, that's the other
On
thing.
the internet.
For free on the internet, and you will never, ever, ever have to pay.
Ever.
They have a lot of really interesting things. So the main attraction is called Philosophical Transactions, which I believe is the scientific peer-reviewed journal that actually started it all. So it's actually really cool. It has one of my favorite, my favorite papers ever published, which was how to basically refrigerate a drink without the use of ice. It has a really great title. It's quite charming. It is called a. I'm not kidding you.
Oh no,
sorry, I'm
it's
just waiting
PDF.
on
It's gonna
it.
take forever to load.
Oh well. So it's basically called a new frigorific experiment showing how a considerable degree of cold may be suddenly produced without the help of snow, ice, hail, wind, or niter, and that of any time of the year. How to refrigerate a drink. How quaint. That was published in 1666. So that's the kind of crap you get to read. And I mean that in the most endearing sense because that is actually a lot of fun. The English is a little hard because you're reading Old English, but you can power through it. So something else that should be added to, of course, the wonderful tomes that are in the Royal Society. Down in the Marianas Trench, or
Yep.
the Mariners Trench to some people.
Mariana.
Mariana Trench.
Yes.
Which is the deepest point in the ocean that we
Yep.
know of, and have found. So, they found some interesting life forms. They thought, well, there couldn't be anything that deep,
Yeah,
right?
But they have basically found a jellyfish that is a single-celled organism.
Oh, no. They found a jellyfish. They
Jellyfish.
found a new species of jellyfish which lives that deep, which generally they don't, apparently.
Different.
But they've also found
Oh, okay.
the history's largest amoeba. So that is
About
a
yay
single
big.
cell. Yeah, it's about this big.
But the size of an average fist, which is a little bit bigger than my hand. So
Yeah, more like
Yeah.
my fist. That is a very large cell. That is single cell. The largest cell that we know of before this one, and it has been compared to, was an ostrich egg, because an egg counts as a cell.
yeah.
So they've actually found something that is quite terrifying because amoebas eat a lot of things. They're not picky. So imagine something like that making it up to the surface.
Yeah.
That could be fun. It'd be like the blob.
That'd be kind of cool.
In a horrific running for my life, spraying canisters
I
at
think the
it.
pressure difference might.
Oh, it'd definitely kill it.
Yeah.
More than likely burst.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of interesting. There's more developing on that because they need to get more. They need to find a sample. They need to do all that
That's
stuff.
moderately terrifying, but awesome.
Yeah. So we could see the scientific disaster we've been waiting for in all of Halloween stories
Yay.
in sci-fi. However, something that is not horrific is
Maybe.
kind of maybe is kind of uplifting ish.
Maybe.
Cell phones may or may not be dangerous to your health.
And a Danish study says it's probably not that bad for you.
Yeah, so they tested over 300,000 or 350,000 people
Yep.
over the last 13 years. Basically, they tracked it all back through I think the identification cards and hospital records.
Yeah, they have like identification cards there, which you basically get at birth. And how that works is that every time you check into a hospital, or even when you have to register to get a cell phone, you use that number. So then they just basically cross-checked it with, okay, this guy got a cell phone, he went to the hospital, why did he go to the hospital?
Yeah.
Not cancer. Next.
Yeah, next.
Yeah.
Or not central nervous system based cancers.
Yeah.
And so they found it was kind of uplifting because they found that of the 350,000 plus, only 356 were actually diagnosed with brain cancer. And then that actually had a brain tumor. 856 were diagnosed with cancer of some form in the central nervous system. But they also did their data checking and whatnot, and over the last 13 years, people have been using them pretty much every day,
Constantly.
but constantly. Well, actually, not constantly.
Yeah.
But have been using them every day.
Figuratively. Constantly.
They were no more prevalent to having it than a normal person who's never used a cell
But
phone.
this is just for adults, though.
Yes, they didn't do
Yes.
children.
No.
They also didn't factor in people who use it for business.
Nope.
And people who are completely and utterly addicted and who literally do not pull their phone away from their head. So that leaves quite a bit of a margin. But for lay people, y'all cool.
Cool.
You don't have to worry about that anymore. Well, ish. Keep in the
Maybe.
news.
Yep.
We need more.
This one of the things that flip-flops every 6 months. So.
Yeah, it's because it's such a large study that needs to be done.
It's such a new thing, too.
Yeah, it takes a lot. But it's kind of uplifting and a very good step forward in either direction. It's always a step forward.
And moving on to the Halloween-themed topic this week.
Yeah.
Do you remember that fish in The Simpsons, the three eyes?
Blinky.
Blinky. Well, apparently in Argentina, they have discovered a very much less cute version of Blinky.
At least Blinky had a smile.
It's true. So in...
Cordoba.
That's the one. Argentina, they've discovered a wolf fish in a reservoir that's fed by a nuclear power plant that has three eyes.
I'd like to know
For-
why they did that, regardless of if the nuclear power plant caused it or not, because they don't know. The fishermen who caught it were actually quite smart about it and said, "No, we're going to get this thing tested. Before we say anything stupid or sensationalize it."
So good
let's
for you,
get
local fishermen.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for thinking that
So they
way.
don't know if it's caused by the nuclear waste or not waste, the nuclear power plant, or it's just a random.
Random mutation
mutation.
or just random freak of nature that happens.
Yeah.
It is a horrifying looking fish, a wolffish. It does not need a third eye. It just makes it even more horrifying.
Yeah, it's neither cute nor cuddly.
No, they're very uncuddly. Ugh. Anyway, so that wraps it up for science this week. It's kind of short. Like I said, I have to catch up. There's a lot of stuff. I left out all the robots because, well, we do a lot of them.
Next week.
No, I'm going to leave them out even then. We're going to try and find some hard science news-ish. Something entertaining. Anyway, so that wraps it up for science. Have a good Halloween. I guess it's probably already happened by the time you see this, so hopefully you played safe. Hopefully you didn't drink too much if you went partying, and hopefully you didn't eat too much candy.
And if you're watching this after Halloween, candy's on sale.
We need to fast forward. I need to get candy.
Welcome behind the lens for this week. We've got a exciting review for you. Adobe finally released their Carousel products.
They did. So we talked about this a little while ago, which was their idea of having a system that you can edit your photos on your iPad, your iPhone, or your Mac, and it's all accessing the same sort of... It's basically their idea of what iCloud should be.
Yeah, except really concentrated on photography.
Yeah. So we've got the app here, and we'll fire it up, and we'll call this guy up here. And so basically, when you sign up for this, now the catch is that you do have to pay a monthly fee to use their service.
Is there a trial period?
There is a 30-day free trial that you get when you first download the app. And after that, right now, because it's brand new, they're saying $5.99 a month or $60 for a full year. And after that, it's going to be $9.99 a month, or I think, I want to say $80 for the year, but I don't remember specifically. Anyway,
It works pretty well. So we've got a couple of images in here. I can go and basically add some more photos to it if I want to. I can bring up this menu here, decide to bring in some pictures. Let's find a good image here. I'll bring in this silly picture of Sam. And we'll click done. And then what it's going to do is it'll add that to my feed. And you can see it breaks down the feeds by date of the photos that were taken.
Is that the only option?
As far as I can tell right now, yes. On this main screen here, we got a couple things. Obviously, we have the plus sign to add photos. We've got the little view status down here, which tells me what it's doing. So in this case, it's uploading these photos to the cloud. We can see down here in the corner, it says updating in the bottom left-hand corner. So at this point, even though it hasn't uploaded in the cloud, I can start working on the photos. So I can jump into the picture of Sam here, and I can choose to favorite it if I want to, or I can just very quickly send this to somewhere. So I can save it to the camera roll, duplicate it, any of those services.
Tweet it, email.
So it supports Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. Tumblr is nice that they included that because that's a really popular place for photos.
That rounds it out pretty well.
It does, yeah. But the big thing here is the develop module. So they've built it around Lightroom, and so a lot of the adjustments are similar. But here's my biggest problem with the app as it stands right now. It's a little bit lacking in functionality. It's got a bunch of the core stuff, but if it really wants to compete and convince someone to spend $6 a month, it's got to be closer to what Lightroom's offering. So we've got a bunch of color filters and adjustments that we can have. Some of them look pretty good. Like if that's a nice looking film look. If I try some of these are just sort of some typical film styles. There's some nice looks that you can get with stuff here. But what we can do is we can jump into the adjustments tab. Now it's kind of interesting because it seems very simple at first. Like all you have is white balance, exposure, and contrast. But you can click the little auto buttons. It'll do auto adjustments. Sometimes they work well, sometimes they don't. You can also do that for exposure. But what happens is if you want to get into a little bit more detail with white balance, you can click these little double arrows that are in the corner, and that jumps it down to now specifically temperature and tint. So I can then go here and adjust it, warm up the temperature if I want to, change the tint to be a little bit more magenta, and then I can click those little arrows again and it collapses. Go into exposure, do the same thing. So now I have exposure adjustment, but the big thing is I have highlight control, which allows me to adjust the highlights in the image. So I can turn them down to recover information, which is sort of like highlight recovery in Lightroom. And I can also adjust my shadows, so I can make my shadows brighter or darker, and if I bring them up, then I'm bringing more detail back from the darker areas. It works quite well. The actual functionality and the math being put in there to adjust the image does work quite well, which I do like. And what I really like here is under contrast, we not only have contrast, but we also have the clarity slider, which is something specific to Lightroom. And what clarity does is it accentuates edges. It's a little bit different than sharpening, as it doesn't make the entire thing suddenly become instantly sharper. It just defines edges better, which is, in my opinion, a bit of a smarter way of sharpening. And they've also put in vibrance, which is a really great one because when I adjust vibrance here, as I bring this up, it makes her sweater brighter, but doesn't really affect her skin tones. So vibrance is designed to only work around skin tones so that you can get more pop to a photo without suddenly making everyone look like they were hanging out in Chernobyl. And then you've got your crop and rotate, so you can do some basic straightening if you want to. You can rotate your images around. You can flip them left and right, upside down if you want to. Which a lot of programs lack that control, which is nice. And obviously, I can do selective cropping. I don't know. I can't use two fingers, unfortunately. But I could move stuff around if I want to. And then I go, all right, okay, I apply, and then there's my edits. And what's neat about this, though, is that because this goes up to the cloud and because it's working in the system, I can now go to my iPhone and see this image. But on my iPhone, I can hit the reset button, and everything goes back to where it was.
Oh, that's it. That's cool.
So it's non-destructive. And now it's going to save those changes here in my carousel and then send that stuff up. So if we look at, here's another image that I was playing with earlier. If we get into the develop module, I can click this little button on the side here as soon as it finishes loading. We got to load the image. There we go. If I click this button on the side, oh, now it won't let me do it. But I can click the, oh, now it doesn't want to let me reset either. Well, I've now broken my demo.
First release, performance seemed to be okay, but not as good as some other apps we've looked at.
Yeah, it's because it's trying to do a little bit all at the same time.
Plus, it's doing the whole always going to the cloud thing.
Yes.
So I imagine that has some effect on it.
Probably, yeah. So, the thing is that at this point, we're looking at an interesting application. It has promise, but I think right now the app's free, but it's hard to justify that price point because I really don't know if the cloud is worth, $10 a month.
Yeah, that's the thing, because most people are going to put their photos somewhere else to share. You're not going to really share off Carousel.
Yeah.
You're going to put it on Facebook, or you're going to put it on Flickr or something like that to actually share your photos, right? But I think it goes to photographers, but it doesn't really provide enough.
Yeah.
Because if you can work on a photo on your iPad while you're on the bus or something on the train, and then get home and pull up those edits and be able to, get rid of them or readjust them at home, that's really convenient.
Absolutely.
But there doesn't seem to be enough control for the photographer.
And that's my problem, is that, and the thing is that and what they said was this is the first release, and they're really impressed with what they were able to do in a first release. But I feel like we live in this world where it's always like, okay, let's just make a product that we can get out there, as opposed to spending a little bit more time and putting in a little bit more effort.
Well,
like, I'd like to have seen actual sharpening. I would have liked to have seen noise reduction.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen independent color channel controls, which would have been nice. These are all stuff that I have in some of my other editing apps. Nick's Snapseed software gives me more control. Photogene gives me more control. And I'd love the idea of working in the cloud, but I'm not willing to throw away that additional editing control.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you just want cloud syncing of photos without having the advantage of being able to undo those edits, you can use PhotoStream.
And my last complaint about it is it presently does not support RAW. Which I think is important, because I know that Nick and Photogene, which in my opinion are the two best apps out there for editing photos on the iPad, they both support RAW. Now, they don't necessarily work at the whole RAW file, but they'll work at the thumbnail preview in it, which can usually be enough to get you, a reference file out or upload to the web. But the Adobe program just flat out does not see it.
The way it's built and the way it looks really makes me want to say it's a consumer level, do quick touch-ups kind of thing.
I would agree.
Except it's $7 to $10 a month.
Yes.
Which, if it was 2 or 3, maybe, that's
or if
your
it was
model.
a $20 program.
Yeah, pay for the program and get the service.
Yeah.
Or even without the service. Just a quick touch-up program for free.
Well, that's what I would like as well, is an alternative to Photoshop Express. This has better controls, in my opinion, than Photoshop Express does. And I would have liked to have been like, you know what, no thanks for the cloud, I'll just save them locally.
that
but
would
at
be
least
great.
had those controls.
Yeah, because if that was a free app, or even $5, $10, without the cloud service, it's a good little app. You can get easy adjustments. You've got good filters, and it's Adobe actually knows what they're doing. So the algorithms are probably very good.
Absolutely. I did find the editing, like the actual vibrancy and clarity, and
the quality,
the
of what
highlight
you're
recovery
getting.
and stuff, all worked quite well.
So that would have been great for someone who's just family photos. You're a bit of a photographer on the side, but the price point's not there. So
yeah.
Hopefully future releases.
Yeah, we'll see if it gets better, and we'll be able to check it out again if there's a
or any integration with
version
the upcoming suite of apps for iOS that is shipping on
if
Android
they all,
first.
I think they'll start using Carousel, and if we got more pro apps using Carousel,
then it
it's
can
gonna-
make sense.
It's going to make that make sense. But
for sure.
right now, I think it's a little bit too little for too much.
Now, something that is a second release and has improved quite a bit.
Yes.
The GoPro Hero 2.
Yes, so this is the Hero 2. So the big changes that they've done, first off, it's an 11 megapixel sensor in there. So they used to have 5 megapixels. A lot of people like to use these for time-lapse because they've got really great built-in time-lapse functions. So now you get 11 megapixel stills instead of 5 megapixels. We're also looking at an adjustable field of view.
Yeah.
So before, you'd change your field of view by changing your shooting resolution. So if you were shooting at 1080p, you saw 120 degrees. If you shot at 720p, you saw 170 degrees. Well, now with this one, you can choose between 170, 127, and 90 degrees.
All at 1080p.
All at 1080p or the other resolutions as well. So that's kind of nice because sometimes you don't want that crazy wide look.
Absolutely.
127 might be better for a lot of stuff, and sometimes you might even want 90 degrees if you just want to have a small crash cam you can put in somewhere, but have it look like a normal field of view. On top of that, they've redesigned the lens. It's now brighter. It's now 2 elements, and it's a flat lens, so better, basically just cleaner, sharper images from it. They've also redesigned the interface, and the other one needed a printout on how to change the settings because it was like R3 version 2, and it was really complicated. So now they've made a new menu system which is actual words and symbols, so it's a lot easier to change. And with it, they've got a bunch of new features coming. It's got HDMI out on it, so it can go to a monitor right away.
Yeah.
It's also got a mic input on it, which the
Which
previous
very
one
cool.
didn't have. And they've got some accessories coming down the road. The big one being a Wi-Fi remote control, which is going to allow your Android or iPhone to be able to see what the camera's seeing, adjust the settings, start the recording, all that kind of stuff, which is designed really to compete with their competitors, which is the Contour line of cameras.
Yeah.
So pretty cool stuff. If you were holding off on getting a Hero, now is the time. This is a really solid device.
It seems like an excellent upgrade.
If you go to GoPro's website and check out their promotional video, it's quite spectacular. The footage that's coming out of this is really nice. Also, some enhanced frame rates here. 30 frames per second on 1080p, 60 frames per second on 720p. But the big thing is if you drop down to WVGA, you get 120 frames per second, which can be kind of cool, especially in such a small little box.
See, we liked the Hero when it came out as a concept, but it was a little lacking in some things. This is a really solid upgrade. I
It
think.
really is, yeah. They've added a lot to this
Yeah.
camera. It's not just, hey, we've made the lens better and now
It's
we can
very
change.
different for the camera world. Usually we get, oh well, we added a 1 to the model number.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
definitely a nice upgrade.
absolutely.
And the last thing in behind the lens this week is a gentleman who decided to make a really awesome Halloween costume. So instead of just dressing up like a camera, a gentleman by the name of, as soon as this webpage loads,
Well, he did dress up like a camera.
it's true.
He just took it a lot, really, to the next level.
So a gentleman by the name of Tyler Card decided to build a camera costume that also worked.
Yeah.
So he made a lens that he could put his camera in, and then he made a flash that went over his head that he put his flash in with a diffuser.
Yeah.
And then he took the monitor off of the laptop and mounted it on the back of it, so every picture he took would show up on the back when he took it.
Yeah.
Now, what's really cool about this is basically he went to Halloween parties and shot from the chest, which is an interesting angle to shoot at. But he had this great diffused light up at the top,
Yeah.
so all of his party photos are spectacular. And he was super popular.
Lots of fun.
So he's been kind of going all over the internet. Everyone, if you're a photo nerd, you totally want this as your costume.
Clearly a
because it
big thing
works.
on the internet, yes.
Yeah. You can check out the link here in the show notes to check out a video where he shows how he built it out of the cardboard and some of the photos that he took with it. So it's pretty cool stuff. What's even neat is I believe he used a wireless trigger
in the button.
so
Yeah.
he could push the button to take the photos.
Yeah.
So really,
Very clever.
really
Yes.
super inventive. Took some time, and it's an awesome costume.
Absolutely.
Especially because it works.
Yeah, that's really next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone can make a giant Nikon D3 costume.
I want this guy to come to my Halloween party. Because there'll be great photos at the Halloween party.
You should just pay him to show up.
That should be his thing now.
Yeah, just go to Halloween parties.
I'm the guy that wears the big Nikon thing that takes pictures.
It's the next big thing. You have a photographer for your parties,
yeah.
and he shows up as a camera.
He is the camera.
That'd be a little awkward at a wedding.
Where's our photographer? Oh, we don't have a photographer. We've got a human camera.
Yeah, that's right. With a little tux, it'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us to the end of Behind the Lens this week.
Well, that's all we have for the show for this week. If you want to write us in and tell us that you've also made a Canon costume with an active Canon camera, because you're just that guy.
Or, Olympus or Panasonic or...
I don't want to see Olympus.
Oh,
No, Canon.
well, we were trying to...
Look, they've got to be crazy. Okay, yeah, Pentax.
There you go.
Yeah. Leica. Leica guys would do it.
They'd make it out of metal and then they'd die.
Yeah, with like a wood shielding. You
Yeah.
could kill a man.
Yeah.
But if you have pictures of yourself in set costume, please email to contact@almostfridayshow.com.
Or you can mention us on Twitter at @almost_Friday. So until next time, keep rocking your giant camera costume party tricks.
Yeah, happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween.